Hey everybody, good morning to you. Hopefully, or wherever you are, good morning, good afternoon. We're gonna just kind of jump right in today. Do me a favor and go ahead and change your name inside of Zoom to your DJ name if you haven't already. I see DJ D in here. Um, got Rainbow Blight. I love that name, Rainbow Blight. Silence them all. Yeah, there we go. Go ahead and change your name when you get a chance. Travel Kit. Okay. All right. It looks like we got some new names. Like some people have like changed up their names, which is good. Like this is a part of the process. DJ Ducks, I think that is. Man, DJ Get It Done, GID. I love that. I Be Ill. Welcome in. Tori, welcome in. Gustavo, welcome. DJ Solaz that I see there. Welcome. Okay, great. Let's start things off like this. Actually, let me change my view up a little bit here on Zoom. I just want to give you a quick little overview of what we're gonna get into today, and then we'll just kind of jump in here. We're gonna start in Zoom. We're gonna go for a little bit here in Zoom. I just want to be able to answer some of your questions that you might have here. Then we're gonna transition to VR. So we're gonna transition into Tribe. For those of you who have your headsets and want to be in headset, you can be in headset. You'll have the gear in front of you. If you would rather stay not in headset, you'll also be able to join in on the session. So I'm going to fire up what's called a video call inside of Tribe. I'll send the link through and we'll make sure to pin it here on Zoom. You'll be able to jump in and join from that link. It's a pretty easy link. And you'll be able to join. You can join from either a web browser, a mobile browser if you wanted to, or you can join in through VR as well. So you have multiple options to be able to jump into the session. And we're going to switch over to that shortly. But before we do that, do me a favor, and I know we did this last week as well. Down in the little emoji section in Zoom, do me a favor and just kind of find the emoji that best represents how you're feeling right now, how you're feeling this morning or this afternoon, wherever you're at. Let's see how everybody's doing here. We'll read this room here. IBL, he's got the tongue out. Feel like that's a good thing. DJ Goose, praise hands, let's go. Ready to do it. Get them up. Love it. TJ with a smile on her face. Love it. Rainbow Blight is kind of feeling meh today. Little mid today, Rainbow Blight. Okay, that's what the kids be saying, mid. I don't know if they say that around your way.
Yeah, they do.
Yeah, oh my gosh. You're feeling mid today, huh? Travel kit with some stars. Love it. Okay, great. Great to have all of you here. Excited to jump in. I want to start. We got like an alien vibe in here too. Solaz is feeling like an alien, or feeling like conquering this world, however which way you want to look at that. Here's what I want to start with today is I want to address any questions that you guys may have at this moment in time. I know we covered a lot last week. We covered a lot outside of VR, and it was a lot of DJ fundamental stuff that we went over. I kind of want to rehash a little bit of that just as a quick review, but I also want to make sure that I address any questions that are out there. So let me actually just maybe start with, like, if you got a question, feel free to put it in the chat, and I'll sort of roll off of what the chat is in terms of the questions. In the meantime, though, I'm just going to kind of throw out some things and kind of rehash what we went over. I know, let me see if I could share this. Jeff, do you have, or sorry, silence them all. Do you have the ability to share screen here? I think I do.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah. Okay, cool. So I'm just kind of putting up this visual. This was off of my screen that I wrote out last week. These are probably the biggest three takeaways that you see in 1, 2, and 3. And then this like overview of this diagram that I created, I think like is really solid. Like, so we have different ways of mixing tracks together and transitioning between songs. This right here is the most popular way to transition between songs. So this is a situation where sometimes this is referred to as blending two songs together or mixing two songs together. Either way, what you see here is we've got Grand Poobah, 100 BPM on the top there. We're waiting for the chorus. We figured out how long the chorus is. The chorus is 8 bars. Underneath it, we're going to be bringing in Gnarls Barkley. This Gnarls Barkley song is 103 beats per minute. We're going to bring this in under the chorus. We're going to use the intro of the Gnarls Barkley record underneath the chorus. Now, in this particular example, both tracks have an 8-bar phrase. The 8-bar chorus of Grand Poobah and the 8-bar intro of the Gnarls Barkley song. Now, if I were just to play these two songs at their original BPM, it's going to sound horrible. It would sound just like crazy. So what do I need to do to be able to make sure that it doesn't sound crazy? Anybody want to throw that out there? What do I need to do?
Beat sync.
Beat sync. Yeah. Very good. So you see that beat sync right there. So I gotta make sure I hit beat sync. And in this case, especially when we jump into Tribe, like I don't want you to feel a type of way about using the beat sync button. I know we have some folks in here that are who have DJ'd back in the day, and you might look at the beat sync button as being anti DJ to some degree in the way that we all came up. Like we didn't have a beat sync button in the past. And I'd like to try to change the framework of this to not look at beat sync as cheating, but instead to look at beat sync as training wheels. So we're going to use the beat sync as training wheels so that we can line up the beats so that we can really focus on the proper phrasing between songs. I also want to point out that a huge part of my overall curriculum, both in VR and outside of VR, is being able to create these quick wins. I think it's super important. And this isn't the way that I used to teach. I used to teach like, all right, we got to teach you how to manually beat match first. And it was painful. And it was the way that I learned. And it was painful to be able to go through that process. And it really quickly separates those who want to do it and those who don't, very, very much from the jump. I don't think, in my personal opinion, that is not the right approach. We want to be able to allow young people and just people who are coming into DJing to be able to get these quick wins, to get a deeper relationship with music. And over time, you might decide, hey, what's next? Like now I got this whole thing down, like now what's next? Then manual beat matching can come into play. And that's where I would advise introducing manually beat matching, is later down the line when people have like gotten more confidence built up. But this is really about building confidence and quick wins. So we beat sync. Now we've made the Gnarls Barkley from 103. We hit beat sync on the Gnarls Barkley deck, which actually then changed the BPM automatically to 100 beats per minute. So now it's the same BPM as the Grand Poobah song. Now we're mixing the songs together. The songs are mixing together for 8 bars. By the time the chorus is done of the Grand Poobah song, the intro is also done. These are like 2 Lego pieces that fit perfectly together. And then now we're into the Gnarls Barkley song. So we're either using the crossfader to just fade all the way over, or we're using our volume faders to take out the Grand Poobah song to bring in the Gnarls Barkley song. We're going to do a lot of practice of this today. And we're going to have you beat match, or we'll have you beat sync a couple of songs inside of VR. I'll help you kind of line up a couple of tracks that we can use here today in VR. Cool. And then I've got this 1, 2, and 3. So these are 3 things that you've got to be able to do, the 3 steps when you're trying to do what we've got up here in this visual. Number 1, we've got to make sure that the BPM is plus or minus 4. And this is a general rule of thumb. So, look, if you're stretching beyond 4, is like, is everything going to turn off on you? No, no, not at all. But you're stretching beyond what is sort of recommended. And what will start to happen is songs will sound faster or slower. You'll start to hear it a lot more when you stretch beyond that plus or minus 4. That plus or minus 4 is also relative to whatever that BPM is at, right? So if the song that you find, especially when we jump into here to VR, you're going to go through some of the music packs. You might find a song that's 125 beats per minute. So what you're looking for is another song that's plus or minus 4 of 125 beats per minute. So that's what we're looking for. That's going to help us determine what's the next song. And then, of course, what we mentioned, we're hitting the beat sync. And then we've got to know how we're getting in and how we're getting out of the different songs. Ultimately, this is going to be a process. And you're studying the music. You're trying to figure out where are these pieces that I can use, that I can line up. In purple here, we've got a big sort of like no-no, which is vocals over vocals. And you might have remembered this from last week when I had Silence Them All tell you what he did in the morning. And then I also started talking at the same time. We're both talking at the same time. It sounded crazy chaotic, right? So we cannot have vocals over vocals. So when you're looking for different sections to mix in and out of, one of them, at least one of them, has to be instrumental. They don't both have to be instrumental. Like sometimes people will take that to the extreme and be like, oh, I can only mix instrumental tracks together. And that's not the case. We're just looking for sections that are instrumental. So hopefully there's a section of the songs that you're mixing that is instrumental. And by the way, if there isn't a section that is instrumental, that does not mean that you then can't transition from the song you're playing to the other song. It just means that you cannot effectively do what I've put up here on this drawing. Like the transition of blending these songs at the same time is going to be off in that case. So hopefully this all makes sense, and this is a bit of a refresher from what we covered last week. Any questions before we just continue? And it doesn't necessarily have to be questions about this. It could be questions about anything. Questions about DJing, questions about life, wondering what to do in your relationship. Like I'm here for all of it. Trying to raise your kids, like, you know, you got challenges. Like, let me know. I'm here for all of it. I'm yours for this hour. Any questions anybody has? Let me just double check the chat too while we're here. Let's see if I've got.
How early is too early to put a headset on my child and teach him how to DJ? You know.
You said how early is too early?
Mm-hmm. Not just a headset, but like a turntable, you know?
Yeah. That's actually a great question. So, so I have kids as well. My kids are soon to be 10, 7. Those are my girls. And then I've got a 2-year-old, 2.5-year-old boy. And then I've got a brand new 2-month-old son as well. The 2-month-old, I wouldn't put in VR. My 2.5-year-old has come with me to gigs and loves touching buttons and touching all of this stuff. And so I actually encourage that for him as well. You know, I wouldn't have him touch a vinyl turntable and some of my vinyl collection. Like that's just asking for a disaster. But to bang on a little controller of some kind, you know, and as I've got a song playing and he's able to hit like a hot cue and just kind of jump back to the beat, or to be able to like just grab the platter and just kind of like mess with the platter and scratch in some type of a way. You know, I could see the joy in his face at 2.5. You know, I could see the joy in his face of him doing it. I've also obviously worked with a ton of kids over the years. And yeah, I mean, honestly, I don't think I would really reserve the vinyl turntables and some of the more expensive equipment for kids that are definitely old enough to be able to follow directions and not and not get too wild. So I would probably say like middle to high school for that. But elementary school kids, I think it's great to expose them to DJing. And I think you could give it to them in smaller doses. So some of the like quick wins are hot cues are great because you're sort of jumping back to a particular point. Like that's a really great win. Like I said, moving the platter or, you know, fast forwarding or winding using the platter of a controller, that's great too. Even like using the filter knob, which I'll go into the filter knob when we jump into VR here today. Using the filter knob is great too because you can hear it instantly as to like what the change is that's happening when you're doing like a high pass filter or a low pass filter. I'll show you that too today. And then same with volume. Like it's really anything that's super noticeable that like, hey, I'm doing that is great. At that point in time, though, you're probably not breaking down like, all right, here's the phrasing. Let's figure out 8 bars. Let's do all that. You're probably not doing that at like elementary, even like, or maybe 4th and 5th graders. Like my 7 and soon to be 10-year-old, they can kind of grasp those concepts. I had my 9-year-old daughter. She performed as a DJ at the talent show last spring, and she did a full mix. And she did a full mix on a controller that was connected to an iPad, and she had a whole routine that we practiced, and she knew when to get out and when to get in and some of the things that she was doing. So I don't think that elementary is too young to do this. In fact, it's a great age. A lot of times they have less fear and less like identity issues at that age. Like, so to catch them early, I think would be great. You start to get into middle and high school, then it's kind of like, well, that's not me, or whatever. I don't want to look stupid doing that. I don't want to look like I'm risking my reputation here by jumping and trying something new. So you got to kind of figure out like what's the right situation. The nice thing about VR also is that it's sort of this closed system as well. So it is kind of nice to be able to get somebody in a headset and be able to have them do this thing somewhat privately. And I do think that that's cool. I think the recommended age right now for VR, they just changed it. It used to be 13. I think it's now 10 for VR headsets. But again, I've had my 7-year-old in VR. I had her in VR when she was 6. I didn't have her in there for an extended amount of time. I had her in there for about 15 to 20 minutes at a time. But, I think, again, trying something new, it's a cool way to expose them. So hopefully that helps. And then Silence Them All has a question about a recommended good, average, above average starter deck. There's so much great equipment now in the marketplace, which is a real benefit to being a DJ or getting into DJing in 2023. So there's some really great options that are out there. Pioneer DJ is sort of the leader in the space when it comes to hardware. You'll also see Pioneer DJ equipment inside of Tribe as well, and we work with them on that. That's not a political answer in any which way. They literally are the world's leader in hardware in our space, which is one of the reasons why we partner with them in VR. But Pioneer DJ makes like a DDJ Flex 4 or like a DDJ Rev 1 that's about $300. And you can get in with a controller like that. They also make a cheaper controller that works with an iPad or like a mobile device that's called the DDJ 200, and that's $179, I think is what the retail is on that. And that's a really great option. There's another brand by the name of Hercules, and Hercules has some really great offerings that are really affordable. So they have controllers that are as inexpensive as like $89 for like a small little controller. To be honest with you though, probably I would go up a little bit. And I happen to have one right here. I was just shooting a video for it. This is a $129 controller right here. Has sort of all of the bells and whistles you need. This can get plugged into a laptop and works great. 129 bucks. This is the Hercules DJ Control Impulse 200 MK2, and I can send some links for some of this stuff too. But yeah, I would say that like it's great to have stuff that is tactile. We also talk about Tribe a lot of times as a and, not an or. So I know that, we're doing this workshop. You guys have access to headsets, which not everybody has access to headsets, which is also, a challenge in this day and age right now. Currently, at some point in time, we'll all have VR headsets, I believe. Like at some point in time, like we'll be walking around with Ray-Ban glasses or whatever, and like everybody will have access to some sort of like mixed reality, virtual reality options like that. But at this moment in time, not everybody has access to VR. Not everybody is comfortable in VR also. Like some people experience dizziness in VR and things like that. So I think to have, what we're going over in these sessions is not just applicable to VR, but is also applicable to physical equipment. And that is really where we position Tribe as well. Like, we don't see Tribe as like, oh, you know, if you're using physical equipment, then that's anti what our mission is. Like, not at all. In fact, that's what we hope to do, is to have you seamlessly blend between reality and virtual reality at some point, and to really meet you where you are, and to meet everybody where they are. So that being said, there's some really great options that are out there. I can send links to all of that. Hopefully that helps. And then great question by Get It Done. Do you need Tidal or some streaming program in order to use turntables in real life outside of VR? We have Serato, and we're told we need to have Tidal. Okay, so this actually is a really great topic that it fits into like what I wanted to cover a little bit today, which is the easiest way to break this down. Where is my, hang on one sec. Let me see if I can. I put out this textbook last year. Let me see if I can switch. So I've got this textbook, First 50 DJ Techniques. We put this out last year. This is a really great reference guide. And so in here, you've got sort of all things DJ in here. So it's got 50 different concepts. It's everything with like starting with BPM, a lot of what I've explained to you, plus or minus 4. Hold on, let me zoom in a little bit. Give me a sec. What we got here? All right, so we've got all these different concepts, but the reason why I brought this up is because getting music, you bring up the question, get it done, getting music, and this is probably a great way to look at it. Concept 15, but it's everything. It's like cables, setting up speakers, gaff tapes, like taping wires. By the way, in case you don't know, there's specific tape that's meant for wires. It's called gaffer's tape. You can get it at specialty stores, but try to use this versus using duct tape. Duct tape will leave a residue on your actual cables and will ruin your cables. And not just for audio, but also for like, you know, you're running an extension cord at your site and you want to tape it down. Invest in some gaff tape. It'll save the wires. It'll save all that nasty residue on the cables. Okay, cool. And so while I'm at it, this is the right way to tape it down. So go across the cable first, and then do it along the cable. It'll hold the cable into place. Okay, anyways, getting music. Let me just come in here a little bit more. So there's like 3 categories of ways to get music today. I mean, I guess technically there'd be 4 if we talk about in Tribe. So the 4th one, I'll start with the 4th one inside of Tribe, which is there's actual music packs that already exist in Tribe. So we just did a deal. We did a deal fairly recently with a label called Monster Cat. There's Monster Cat tracks inside of Tribe as well that you can access. Many of these are, you've got to actually click on it. It'll download onto your device. So you need to be connected to the internet, at least for that moment, to be able to download them onto the device. And then they'd be on your device. We also have track packs that kind of come loaded with Tribe as well. And you'll see all of that in the My Tracks section of Tribe when you go to the browser. And we'll jump into Tribe here in just a second. But I do want to give you like these 3 categories of music. So Get It Done was mentioning Tidal, which is a streaming service. Tidal, in case you're not familiar, was sort of famously known for being Jay-Z's streaming company that he bought up and then sold, I think, 2 years ago to the people that actually make Square, the payment company. Tidal actually was known for giving more royalties or giving a higher payout to artists, and they were sort of seen as a more artist-friendly platform. They also were seen as being a higher audio quality platform as well. And Tidal is integrated into many of the DJ softwares that are out there, like Serato, Rekordbox, Virtual DJ, Algorithm DJ. We're actually awaiting our Tidal integration into Tribe. So that should be coming soon. It's not there currently, but it will be coming soon. I use Tidal inside of Serato and Rekordbox. I think it's great. It's the closest thing to Spotify. Spotify is my go-to though. I'm usually in Spotify. Like if you tell me a record to play, I'll probably play it in Spotify. There are tools to convert Spotify to Tidal as well, where you're not having to manually do this. Like you could take a playlist that already exists in Spotify and then create that into a Tidal playlist in a matter of seconds. So there's some tools that are out there for that as well. I'll mention it and then I'll do that as a follow-up. I'll send that over to you all. It's called SoundIs. That's one of them. There's another one as well that's out there. These are just great tools to have. Other options for streaming, SoundCloud Go Plus, which we actually do have integrated into Tribe. So this is not the free version of SoundCloud. This is a subscription that you would have of SoundCloud, and it's called Go Plus. It has a pretty good selection. It doesn't have as broad of a selection as you would find on Tidal or Spotify or Apple Music, but it's pretty good. Other options are Beatport and BeatSource as ways to sort of link in. They've got a streaming side of Beatport. Beatport is mostly dance music. BeatSource is mostly open format music. These would all be integrated into Serato or into Rekordbox. We're also awaiting our Beatport integration. It's a bit more challenging to take the API and get the API into VR. It's just a different beast, but those things are in motion. Music is a huge part, obviously, of what we need to do. The second category is monthly dues. So there's actually things that exist that are resources for DJs. So we call them digital DJ pools. The way that works is you pay a monthly subscription and you then have access to a bunch of music. And it's not every album that's out there. In no way is it meant to rival any of the streaming services in terms of selection. It's very specific. So it's very focused around music that DJs would want. It also has, so in that case, you're paying for a monthly subscription and then you're downloading MP3s. I know it's archaic. We're the only people that actually download MP3s today. But if I download the MP3s, then I own the MP3s, and then I can get the MP3s on my headset. So like that's definitely a way to do that. The other benefit is a lot of these services offer 8-bar extended intros or extended outros or different versions of songs, like unofficial remixes or mashups or things like that would be offered through a digital DJ pool. So the monthly dues are usually, I've seen as low as $10 a month to like $50 a month for access to music. And then again, you have access to all of this music, you're able to download it. A majority of my music as a DJ comes from these monthly pools today. That's the majority of where my music comes from. And then there's the purchase per track. So this is the old school iTunes, Amazon Music, Beatport, going and actually paying for a song, downloading the song. And then, like I said, for both of these categories, it's an MP3. You don't need Wi-Fi to use the music, and you can transfer these MP3s onto the physical VR headset. And you could do that a couple of ways. So one of the ways, and I'll just kind of talk through this really quick. One of the ways to do that is you connect your VR headset to your computer, and your computer will read it as a hard drive. So you'll have to authenticate it inside the headset. You'll have to give your computer access to the files on the headset, and then you'll put the actual MP3s into the music folder. So there's an actual music folder inside of that hard drive, and that's where you just would place the music. Then when you open up Tribe, you'll see the music there automatically. So all you got to do is just copy the tracks over to the device in that way. But you'll need a cable to connect from your device to your computer. If you're using a Mac, you'll need a separate app. It's an Android file transfer app. And it's just because the VR headset, the Meta Quest, is an Android device. So think about if you were to plug in a Samsung Galaxy phone, it would be the same. Like you would need to have this app to download onto your Mac that would allow for the file transfer. And there's a couple of other ways to do it, but that's probably the simplest way to do it. That's how most of our users are getting their own MP3s onto their VR headsets. So hopefully that helps. Yeah, cool. All right.
Recording in progress.
Sorry, did somebody have a question? Okay, cool. Get it done. API. Okay, sorry. So yeah, let me define API real quick. API is essentially what allows the two applications to talk to each other. So in order for us to have Tidal speak to Tribe, we need the Tidal API to like integrate to it. And there's different APIs for different platforms that are out there. You may see that like when you go on some like software as a service sort of site where it's like there's a Dropbox API, for example, which actually is another way to get your music onto Tribe also. So we do have Dropbox integration in headset. If you have a Dropbox account, you can actually log into your Dropbox account in the headset, and then any of your music that's stored in Dropbox, you'll be able to see on your Quest headset as well inside of Tribe. So that is another way actually to access music without connecting a cable, is by using Dropbox. And then Bandcamp. Yeah, Bandcamp is actually a really great resource also. I love Bandcamp. Yes, and yes, when it comes to streaming, you are dependent on the Wi-Fi to even play songs. Yeah, so with Tribe, you can actually use Tribe offline. So if the Wi-Fi went down, you could still use Tribe. But if the music that you had was streamed, you wouldn't be able to use those tracks. But you would be able to still use any actual MP3s that you had in Tribe, including a lot of the demo packs that are already preloaded in Tribe. So I've done things where I've done like a lesson at an airport lounge, whatever, recorded it, and I wasn't connected to the Wi-Fi. I was just only using like whatever music was on the headset to be able to do that. Or I've recorded stuff outside with like the video pass through. And in those cases, I wasn't connected to Wi-Fi. I had downloaded an MP3, put it onto the device, and then was mixing with it. You just won't see. The only other thing is you won't see, if you have a meta avatar, you won't see a meta avatar. Like it'll look like this like white ambiguous person avatar that you'd have when you do that. Let's see. Cool. All right, cool. I think that's all your questions for now. Okay, great. All right, so here's what I'm gonna do. And some of you, I'll send through a link. You can find this book on Amazon. It's everywhere. Like this is sold on Amazon. You find it at Guitar Centers. It's like fully published and out. But I also have a link if any of you want to pick up a copy of this. This is a $25 book. But it also comes with a bunch of video content too. Not necessarily not Tribe specific content, but like video content when it comes to some of the concepts that are in here. So it's kind of a really great manual to have laying around. Obviously you see I use this even. Cool. Let's get Tribe going. So here's what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna fire up a room in Tribe. I'm also going to screen share on here for right now. So for somebody that maybe want to stay on Zoom, you could stay on Zoom. If you're gonna get into VR and you would potentially have two things going on, because you're gonna hear my audio. You may hear my audio twice, so bear with me as like we get through this like technical part of it. Let me get my headset together. Oh, by the way, I don't think this is a surprise to anybody, but there is a new Meta headset that's coming in the fall, in time for holiday and whatnot. It's the Meta Quest 3 that is coming. I know that you guys have a great relationship with Meta as well. One of the big things with the Meta Quest 3 is that it'll have like full video pass through. It works with Tribe. We're actually a partner of Meta's, and like some of our engineers already have the Quest 3 and have um, have been using it, and they've said great things about it. Personally, one of the things though that I love about this one is that it's the actual way it's built is different, and the fact that this is open here, you don't get as hot and sweaty in here, and there's also not this like strap that goes down the middle to sort of balance it. So it has this like really interesting way that it sits on your head. And if you're in the market for a headset, I love the Quest Pro. Okay, so let me just get this going. And I think this should work, Jeff. Hold on one sec. Oh, let me switch. Switch this build. Sorry, guys. Give me one sec. Cool. Should be able to see me. Jeff, you might need to spotlight me in Zoom just to make sure that everybody can see. And then let me get a live stream going here. So you're probably seeing what I'm looking at first person. And actually, before I launch the live stream and go live here, let me just point out a few things. So we have two menus right now. So we've got this small menu, which I like to call the mini menu that's here. It's like right above the actual decks. And then we have the main menu, which is this bigger one. A lot of what you need is right here in this mini menu right now. So like if I click on music, I then can see what I was telling you about with my tracks, track packs. So here inside of the track packs, here's some of the artist packs that we have. Inside of here, you'll see some of the different files. I can analyze these files. And now it's analyzing. It'll now give me all the BPM and the key. I can also change this. I'm going to change this to open key. I'll talk a little bit more about key later. We're not going to worry about key too much today. We're mostly focused on BPM. And then you'll see some of these other track packs. So all of this is already loaded on my device. And when I analyze that, you'll see almost everything is 125, something that's at 128. So most of these are going to be electronic dance music packs here. That's just sort of what we have currently inside of Tribe. But I can also go back out to music. And if I go to my tracks, this is where I can see some of my songs that I've loaded in. I can also go back to Dropbox, and I can log into my Dropbox as a way of seeing music as well. That's what I was mentioning earlier. And then let's see, playlists. Yeah, okay, so I can create a playlist here as well, and then start to put songs in them, which I'm gonna have you guys do that when we get in here. And also go back and see your history. You can save your history as a playlist. This is really helpful. And then here's that SoundCloud integration. That's if you had that SoundCloud Go Plus. So when I click on it, you can log in. You can also view free playlists from SoundCloud, assuming that you're connected to the internet. So if I go here, got like hip hop and rap, and you can sort of see these different songs that are here. And if I grab one of these, click on it, load to deck 4, there it is. And because I'm connected to the internet, it's working here. Are you guys able to hear my audio? You able to hear like the music coming through? Yeah.
Yes.
Okay, cool. Awesome. Beauty of being in my studio. All of it is hooked up already. Okay, so you've got different tracks that you can load up. We're looking for songs that are within sort of plus or minus 4 of one another. The one downside to this when I'm trying to go off of these tracks is I can't actually analyze the songs ahead of time. So I've got to like load the track first and then it analyzes. And then I can sort of see what it is. So I've got to kind of take time to do that to sort of see what will go. Now, what you might also notice with these is I'm getting a BPM value of 150 or 161 or 180. Like, that seems really fast. The other way to think about this is 180 divided by 2 is 90. So this track right here is actually 90 beats per minute as well. And actually, I do want to do something here. So let me show this first, and we'll stay in Zoom right now for a moment. Actually, yeah, I just want to show you this, and then I'll open up the room here. So let me switch my camera angle. Okay, so actually, let me get a selfie. Hold on 1 sec. Okay, so with this track in particular. There's a bit of an issue here. So, number one, the BPM says 180. The other thing that I know, so it really is 90 beats per minute by the time I listen to it. The other situation that I noticed here was that the grid was not set up right. So when the beat comes in, it should be on one of these red markers. So that right there, that grid marker should be there. It's not though. So what will happen is if I hit beat sync on the other deck with this set up the way that it is, it won't sound beat matched. Like they'll be all over the place. And that's because the grid is wrong. So in order to do this, I got to change the grid. So I'm just going to go ahead and click on grid. And when I have this, let me kind of tilt this up a little bit. So one of the things that I'm going to do is I'm going to divide it in half first. So I'm going to divide that in half. Now it made it 90. The other thing that I'm going to do is I'm going to get to that 1. Oh, wait, sorry. Get to it. I can also scrub the waveform. Get closer. Now I'm exactly on that mark. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to hit this right here. So by hitting that, that then moved the grid. So now when I actually play, now the beat comes in where it's supposed to be. Now, not only is this important for beat sync, but this is also important for any other like digital features I'm going to use that rely on the grid. So even like setting a loop would be off. Skipping ahead of the track would be off. Like using something like beat jump would be off. Certain effects would be off if the BPM is wrong. So just making sure that I get everything correct is really important when you're setting up the songs. Now, this is something that I had to deal with because this track was off a little bit. And I just wanted to show you because some of the songs that you'll deal with, you know, Tribe does a pretty good job of analyzing tracks correctly, but at the same time, we're using digital algorithms to try to calculate where that beat is at. And the reason why this was off was because it started with not a beat. So this actually starts with that. So when Tribe analyzed it, it kind of got it wrong. And it's not just Tribe, it's any DJ software. So what I've started to find was probably Tribe is about, I don't know, 85% accurate. And it really depends on the music that you're bringing in. So 8 out of 10 tracks won't be an issue. Like when you play them, like the grid will be right, BPM will be right, 8 out of 10 tracks. 2 out of 10 though, you'll need to do this type of adjustment. So I just wanted to be able to kind of show you that. And if you wanted to practice this, you could use the exact same track that I'm using, because I'm just using this inside of this SoundCloud track. It's like X's and Summer Flings by Jacoy. And this was a free track. I don't have a SoundCloud account that I'm using, a SoundCloud Go account. So you can just jump in and use this track if you want. This is a really great way of practicing resetting the grid and then setting the actual downbeat, setting the one. I didn't touch, by the way, I didn't touch any of these other buttons. So I didn't touch this button here, any of these 2 buttons there. All I did was I halved the grid because it was at 180. I halved the grid, and then I got to the point where the downbeat was, and I used that marker to set the marker of where that was. And then now everything is fine. Everything is locked in now. So this is a great thing to be able to practice as well. Let me go ahead and do this. I'm going to open up a live room, and you can join. So you can join by using this link and silence them all. I don't know if you can write this in the chat real quick, but it is live.tribexr.com/Coach Hapa. And so if you join that from any web browser, you'll be able to join from there. If you want, you can disconnect from Zoom after you do that. And then you'll actually be in this space with me. And you'll be able to hear me in that space as well. You'll enable your microphone. It's gonna be a step 2 where it's gonna send you an email. So just make sure you have access to your email. And then again, if you wanted to join in Tribe, you could join in headset. You'll see my room go live, and you'll be able to jump into my room. So I'm gonna go ahead and go live right now.
But what was the link again? Just to put in the chat.
live.tribexr.com/Coach Hapa. I be ill. What's going on?
I just want to clarify that my kids have changed my avatar, and I don't really look like this.
You got it. You got it. The nice thing is you can change up your avatar however you wish, and you can keep changing it back. So you should be able to see me here in Tribe, and I can actually see you. So from my side of things, this is what I see. Yeah, I see I be ill over there. And as you all come in, I'll be able to show you some stuff here. So the first thing that I'm having you guys work on is just to be able to get into where the music is at. Give it a shot of trying to set the grid. It's a little bit of an intermediate feature, but it's good to know how to do, because you'll run into this issue where songs are not beat matching when you are trying to beat match them. And a lot of times the issue is because the grid is not right. Like 9 times out of 10, when you hit beat sync and it doesn't sound right, it's because the grid is wrong. And 9 times out of 10, it's as simple as a fix of what I just did, where I half or doubled the grid of where it was at, and then I just made sure that the 1 was set where it was supposed to be at. Like most of the time, that solves the issue. So, yeah, hopefully that helps. And like for some of you that are going to come in on a web browser, you'll come in as a famous DJ. Like we have Eric Prides in here. And you can change your name also inside of your settings. Nice to see everybody here. Like, let me show you what I'm seeing from my side. So it's basically like Zoom, and I can see all of you who are here. So wait for the camera, all my avatars that are here. Yes, hey, sweet. And you're probably also, we're getting a bit of a crazy inception, because we're also seeing this inside of our Zoom that we still have sort of active on that end for those of you who are in on the Zoom. So this is very cool that you all are here. So a couple of things. As people start filtering in, you'll also be able to hear me on Zoom simultaneously if you're still on Zoom, for all of my Clubhouse Network folks. What I want you to do is I want you to be able to find some tracks. So just try to find 2 tracks that are within that ±4 range that you can maybe try to figure out a different section of the song that maybe is instrumental, where you can beat match and try to mix them together. Now, depending on the equipment that you're using, some of you I see are still on the starter decks, which is great. That's going to simplify things a lot by being on the starter decks. Some of you are on the Pioneer decks, like how I have in front of me. There is no right or wrong decks to be in front of. It's completely up to you with what you want to do. If you are on a 4-channel mixer, as I am here, and you only have 2 decks, just recognize that, you know, whichever decks you're on are going to be what is controlled, like which faders are you're able to use. So right now I'm on 1 and 4. That's the way that I'm set up. So 2 and 3 don't work at all. Like I can't actually click on anything on 2 and 3. So 1 and 4 is only the decks that are actually working. What the challenge essentially for today is to try to get 2 songs up and try to blend between 2 songs. To try to mix between these 2 songs. Make sure that you're using the beat sync button. If for some reason, like I said, as you're mixing between the songs, it doesn't sound right, it's likely because maybe there's a grid issue. So if you wanted to just abort and find 2 other songs, you could do that as well. What I would do is the easiest way to do this is to start with 1 song, decide what you're going to play first, and then find a song that could match with that. That way you're not chasing your tail. So settle on, okay, I'm definitely going to use this 1 song. And by the way, it's not going to be your favorite song. You're not looking for your favorite song. Just look for something within some of these track packs. It's really about just getting the fundamental down of going from track to track. Not so worried about bringing in my own music quite yet. And as you get prepared and you're able to bring in your own music, you can do that. But don't worry about that so much right now. Really just focus on being able to get 1 track up, mix it into another track, and have some fun doing it. So I'm gonna let you guys do that for a moment here. I'm gonna put 5 minutes here on the clock, and then we'll kind of come back together and sort of see where everybody is at. So I'm just gonna go ahead and mute everybody out. Make sure you guys are all muted on your side. Cool. And I'll see you guys in about 5 minutes. Putting 5 minutes on the clock here. If you need anything, feel free to like raise your hand and I can help out. You can also mute my master as well, so that you're not being bombarded with that on your side. I'm muted in Tribe, but I should be live here on Zoom. If any of you need anything or you need any help, feel free to message on Zoom if you're still here. Yeah, we'll give it another couple minutes. Gonna give you guys 2 more minutes here. All right, all right. Great. So here is what we're gonna do to sort of wrap things up here. Hopefully you've gotten a chance to mix 2 songs together. I'm just gonna give you a quick version of like what I'm looking for when I'm mixing the tracks together, right? So we're looking for the in and out points. So let me go ahead and go overhead here. So in this case with this track, so this track starts with vocals, right? So we've got to be conscious of that. Now this starts with vocals. So I'm looking then, if I want to bring this in from this point right here, like let's just go ahead and set a temporary cue here. So this is, if I'm bringing this in from this point, so that was 8 bars right there. That section was 8 bars, but there's all sorts of vocals in it. So if I'm going to come out from another song, then maybe what I want to do is on the other song, I'm looking for a place that is instrumental. So let me just kind of put this together. So in this case, with this song, So this whole section here is instrumental. Now this is also at the very beginning of the song. Right, so this is all instrumental at the very beginning of the song, but I also am guessing that there's probably instrumental near the end of the song as well. I'm just gonna go ahead and mix these. So it's as simple as trying to figure out, okay, this one has vocals at the very beginning of it. This one doesn't have vocals at the end of it. Like, I'm going to put those together, and I got to figure out the right phrasing of it as well, right? And that gets a little bit more complex. But the general concept is I want to try to find a place for these two songs to live together and to be mixed together. And yeah, I could have used the beginning of that song as well, but it wouldn't work in practice. Like, in practice, this would be like, I'm playing this song, and then also, this maybe not be super practical to wait till the very end of it. So maybe I've got to find a place earlier on in the song that then goes instrumental. Or I could set up a hot cue and be able to jump to that section so that I could skip ahead a little bit. So these are all different strategies of ways to be able to mix the tracks together by being able to figure out what pieces of the songs I have. So hopefully this is helpful. Like, this was, I think, a really big step to be able to find these songs. Also, if you're practicing with this, you're finding that again, when you hit beat sync, that the songs don't line up right, it's likely because the grid is wrong. So you'll need to reset the grid. And I want you to give that a shot this week. Have some fun with it. I'll see you guys next week for sure. I'm going to jump back onto Zoom just for any of those that aren't finishing on Zoom. I'm going to go ahead and close this room as well in just a moment. I'll keep it open for a minute. And then, yeah, you guys can have at it. Have some fun with it this week. Let me just let me mute myself in Tribe real quick. Okay, there we go. Cool. For those of you who are still on Zoom, hopefully that helps. Yes, I will send through some of those links too that I mentioned for like the book, and also for SoundIs and some of the controllers that I mentioned as well. All right, guys, have a great one. Have a great week out there.
Thank you so much. Peace out, y'all.
Take care, everybody.
Bye.
You guys.